This is Guido. I drove off with Roslyn next to me, while Gay and Perce jumped on the flatbed. This was going to be a raucous ride chasing those wild mustangs. I told Roz to hang on as those horses darted back and forth trying to evade our speeding truck.
This is Roslyn. I reluctantly jumped in the passenger seat and witnessed these cowboys chase those terrified ponies. Guido drove like a lunatic, getting closer and closer to those wild beasts. Silently, I hoped they'd get away, but they didn't have a chance.
Gay Langland here. It was nice to feel the desert breeze on the back of a flatbed again. I secured myself to the board and Perce did the same on the right. Guido sped off and we spotted the 4 mares in the distance. Perce got the first shot and lassoed one of the mares.
Perce here. I lassoed the mare on my second try. Then Gay got the second one until we got all 4. Then it was my turn to get the stallion. I can only imagine how this whole thing must be tearing Roslyn up.
Guido again. Roz is new to all this. She seemed surprised when I told her we'd tie all the horses down now, loosen their nooses, and leave them on the desert floor overnight. I said the dealers would then come by and pick them up in the morning.
Gay Langland again. I was anxious to get after the horses and tie their legs down before they slipped away. Guido followed after me and Howland was talking to Roz. Finally he came and incredibly he forgot his gloves. The big stallion proved to be the warrior I expected him to be. We each got a rope on him and he reared back, charged us, kicked his hind legs and furiously tried to loosen himself.
Perce here. The stallion was enraged after being roped. He was much bigger than I thought and he tossed us around like rag dolls. Suddenly I realized I forgot my gloves and my hands were getting torn to shreds as I tried to control him. I almost preferred being on that raging bull back in Dayton.
Guido here. I'm a pilot and mechanic, not a horse wrangler. I couldn't believe the sheer power coming from that wild horse. He hemmed and hawed and frantically tried to escape. I tried not to get kicked in the face, but I had to help my buddy Gay. But were 3 men enough to bring down this enormous beast?
This is Roslyn. I finally had enough of this cruelty and ran to Gay. I pleaded with him to let the horse go and that they were killing it. Gay seemed completely possessed, like Captain Ahab trying to capture Moby Dick. Suddenly, Gay threw me aside like a paper cup as I watched in disgust. This was not the kind man I once knew.
Gay again. I couldn't believe Roslyn put herself in harm's way trying to save the stallion. I threw her aside not just to retain control of the beast, but to keep Roz from being seriously injured. I knew she was appalled, but this was not the time to confront me about it. Finally, we got the big boy tied down with the help of Guido and Perce. I suddenly realized that catching a few wild horses seemed much more violent than funneling hundreds of them into a corral. I discussed with the guys if we should just give the mustangs to Roz instead of having the dealers kill them. Perce was right. Why go through all this for just a few bucks and get Roslyn so upset? Then I turned around and Roz was offering to buy the horses from me with the paddleball winnings. My blood began to boil. Who did she think I was? I didn't mind giving up a few wild ponies, even after we just busted our behinds catching them. But I did resent someone making up my mind for me. After all, I had to retain some self-respect, even as a has-been cowboy. A man without a little pride, of course, is no man at all. So I decided to get back to the original plan.
This is Roslyn. I didn't know Gay had a change of heart and was going to let the horses live. Now I know I ruffled his feathers big time. After all, Gay has been doing this for years. It's not just a pastime. It's a way of life for him, a reaffirmation of his worth. Now where does this madness end? I feel awful. I jumped back in the truck with Guido. And to my amazement, he started talking about himself again and tried for the umpteenth time to make a play on me.
Guido again. I feel like I'm on a funny farm. First, I almost get killed while clearing a mountaintop with my plane. And now we're arguing about what to do with the horses. But even though Roz is a nut, I have the hots for her and let her know it. Surely she's done with Gay, and I'm willing to set the mustangs free if she'd give me a reason.
Sure enough, Mr. Sensitivity. The guy who felt sorry for himself for killing thousands of people in the war needed a reason to save the horses. Didn't he realize they wanted to be free, just like us? This guy just lusts after me and will sell his soul too for that goal. He'll even throw his best friend under the bus. I've had it with this selfish creep. At least Gay has principles. He believes that the world has changed, but not him. But Guido will flip-flop like a seal and butter me up with his empty compliments. Gay at least has a heart, but this guy is just a self-aggrandizing intellectual who thinks he's above the rest of us.
Purse here. I wasn't going to partake any longer in Gay's madness. He's hanging on to the past, and his ego is consuming him now. I pitied him and his sidekick Guido as they took the mare down, with the colt looking on. Of course, this was tearing Roslyn to shreds. As Gay and Guido calculated how much money the horses would bring, I refused any pay for myself. There was just too much bad karma going around.
After watching in horror, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had to get away, and I ran onto the dry lake bed. I told the men that they were butchers, killers, murderers, and liars. That they're only happy when they see something die. I said they should kill themselves and be happy. I called them out for stating they loved their freedom and God's country, but wouldn't see their hypocrisy. I said they were 3 dear, sweet dead men. Clearly, they had no empathy for the horses, who also wanted to be free. I yelled that I pitied them.
Guido here, I told you Roslyn was a nut. She's like all women. We guys struggle and build, turn ourselves inside out for them, but it's never enough. So they put the spurs to us. I know because I have the marks to show for it. I know their racket. I just forgot for a while.
Gay Langland once more. There goes Guido again popping off. He's had girl trouble ever since his wife died. Clearly he's bitter about women rejecting him, but Roslyn has a point. Here we are proclaiming how roping horses keeps us free. But we refuse to see that this landscape would be barren without these beautiful beasts running around. The truth hurts, but my way of life is dying along with these horses.